was a Saudi summit that took place in Mecca. You heard me, in Mecca. Leaders from the Arabic world gathered to talk about the Trump peace plan and their own ideals of what it might mean. And here's what took place. There was a list of who's who. There you see, that's the king of Oman. Actually, he's called the Sultan of Oman. He was there, and that guy has a lot of clout. Okay, the Sultan of Oman. He was there. But what came out of this, of course, King Salman chaired this thing. The old man, the king himself, King Salman, there he is. He was the chair, and there was a lot of discussion going on. And believe me, he said, I tell you what, I think this should be a two-state solution. After King Abdullah II said, I don't think we can do the Trump deal. I love the economics of it, but I don't think we can do this deal. I think it's got to be a two-state solution. I think the Palestinians have to have a two-state solution. Now, understand something. King Abdullah II, that man right there, the Hashmonite kingdom, he is the blood lineage of the Hashmonite kingdom of the Bible, and he's also the blood lineage of the Prophet Muhammad. And he's married to a Palestinian girl. So he's got to be able to say to the Palestinians, look, I fought for you to get your own state. Now, I think that's why he's pushing so heavy for this. Plus, in the Trump deal, the Palestinians in the West Bank would all be given to Jordan. And I don't think he wants that burden. I think he wants them to have their own state in the West Bank. So let me read to you what's going on. Now, also, there you see, Jared Kushner already met with him last week. There's King Abdullah II, and he was telling Kushner then, guys, this has got to be a two-state solution. The Trump deal calls for a one-state solution, but great economics for all of the Muslim nations, including the Palestinians. Now, here's what came out of this so far, as Brock continues to show you pictures from the summit and the players. But a general view of the Gulf Cooperation Council Summit, it was called, in Mecca in Saudi Arabia, took place on May 30th. Saudi Arabia's King Salman hosted this three-day summit, and it was very impressive display. That man showed up, King Mohammed VI of Morocco, and he wants to be in control of the Temple Mount. All right, he wants to control the Temple Mount. Now, Saudi Arabia's King Salman hosted the three-day event. It was a very impressive display of the kingdom's convening power. The Saudis won endorsements for their isolation of the Houthis, but no practical support for the war in Yemen. But they're saying, go ahead, you can beat up the Houthis, but we're not going to get involved. Their main goal was confronting Iran. It was undermined by deflections from their camp. The Palestinians may be the biggest winner, as the one area of agreement was support for the two-state solution and the condemnation of the United States administration policy on Palestine in Jerusalem. But the king did convene consecutive summits of the Gulf Cooperation Council, and then he held a meeting with the Arab League and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in Mecca. The turnout was mixed. You had Morocco's King Mohammed VI. You had Turkey's President Erdogan. What? He showed up. And Oman's Sultan Qaboos also sent deputies, as did the Emir of Qatar. And though the Qatar representative briefly shook hands with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the blockade on Qatar was still not lifted. There's Erdogan. The GCC and the Arab League were harsh to the Iranians, condemning them for supporting groups like the Houthi rebels, who are plaguing Yemen and attacking Saudi Arabia. But Iraq disassociated itself from the statements. President of Bahram Salah noted that Iraq's shares 1,400-kilometer border with Iran and many social and economic ties. He warned that the growing tensions between Iran and Saudi Arabia and Washington, D.C. are very dangerous for the entire region. Also, the Kuwaitis expressed concern about the risk of confrontation and the sectarian violence, although they were careful to adhere to the Saudi line. And Jordan's King Abdullah II backed the need for a Gulf security. He condemned the recent attacks on oil tankers in the ports of Iraq. But the king stressed that the greatest danger to the regional stability is the Israeli occupation of the West Bank. He says that should be a two-state solution, and he said there's an urgent need for political solution to the Palestinian problem, an implicit rejection of Donald Trump's administration efforts for a one-state solution. So King Abdullah of Jordan says it's got to be two states. But he's not talking about Gaza. He wants it to be a two-state solution. Only give them the West Bank. He's all right with Saudi Arabia taking over the Gaza Strip and making it a playground for all the rich Saudis and all the rich Middle Eastern and Europeans and Americans and anybody else that wants to go there and play like a Vegas Strip. They want to turn the Gaza Strip into a Vegas Strip with casinos and hotels and shopping malls and entertainment and an airport and 2 oil refineries and 2 turning the water into fresh water, the Mediterranean Sea, desalination plants. They want to boom the economy there. Plus, Saudi Arabia is willing to put a ton of money into the West Bank as well. But this is what we're looking at here. It may turn out that President Abbas, that right there, that's the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. It may turn out that President Abbas gets the West Bank, but he doesn't get Gaza. Gaza may end up in the hands of Saudi Arabia. Can you believe that? But what about the Egyptians, okay? So there's a lot going on here. We're starting to hear Trump's still going to go with a one state, and as Trump has said repeatedly, I want this to be a one-state solution, but an economic explosion for all. But if the Israelis and the Palestinians, if they're willing to do two-state, I won't stop them as long as the economic system gets in place, because it's going to be the economic system that drives this two-state or one-state solution. Trump knows not to part the land. He isn't going to do it. If it gets done, it'll be Netanyahu. It won't be Trump. I find that today being Ramadan, the last day of Ramadan, very ironic that the mother of Israel died today. President Reuven Rivlin's wife, the First Lady of Israel, died today with, of course, complications with her heart and lung disease. She had a lung transplant earlier in the winter of this year, but she just couldn't pull through. She was 73. She would have been 74 tomorrow. It's a very sad day in Israel, and it's also the last day of Ramadan. Good news is no major violence anywhere, which is maybe that's a sign that everyone is coming to the table. I don't know. But is this blood moon? Is this blood moon over Jerusalem coming at midnight of July 16th and into the early morning of July 17th? This midnight hour blood moon at midnight, a prophecy alert. Will it be peace or will it be war? And I don't know the answer. I think that's what the question is. And so we're going to wait and see. It's a 75% partial blood red moon over Jerusalem. Now,